you, Reverend. Can one still have faith without necessarily belonging to a religion?
Oh yes.
Or being religious?
My friend here has faith in something. As he said, he probably will not put a name to it, but he's a pantheist.
But would you describe yourself as having faith?
Not so much, no. I wouldn't describe myself as having faith. Because I don't pray to this thing. I don't, the relationship that I have with this energy isn't the same as religious people have with the God.
How would you describe that, the energy you keep talking about?
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe that? How, do you feel it?
I am it. We are it. It just is. I know it may be like hard for some people to grasp, but everything is energy. So
is it life? Is it, what is it?
It's life.
Okay.
It's everything. A very simple pantheist saying is, everything is everything.
Is it not the same then as the if in Christianity terms, as people would say the Holy Spirit?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Okay.
I mean, nothing near that. And I would say that for me as a person, I don't believe in anything. I believe in someone, and it's my ability to find a definition to who I believe in that is important to me. And how does that come about? It comes about by my ability to be able to confirm or to be able to say that this is my experience with the person that I believe in. And that's very different from what my friend is talking about. I'll find it very difficult if I went into a classroom or I went into a lecture room, and then my lecturer is teaching me something, and then he tells me that, well, whatever I'm teaching you has no definition. It has no beginning. It has no end. It is everything, and everything is everything. I would like to know. I would like to, having a very curious mind and having, wanting to be able to acquire knowledge and to understand things, I would like to have things defined for me. And I think definition is quite important.
Maybe, Sarah, you can define things for us.
I mean, I personally, I think the human ego is a very interesting thing. I think the ego wants to know a lot of answers to questions that you may not necessarily know. Okay, so for me, if all human beings have come to a conclusion around the globe that there is something, some energy, some force, and then, right, the human ego now defines it. It doesn't define itself, you see. So I'm choosing not to define it because I know that if I do define it, I'm only going to be defining it based on my own subjective reasoning. Right, so the Christian will define it as I said, as Jesus, and the Muslim will define it as Allah, and all this kind of stuff. And to me, those are just subjective, egotistical ways of defining something that hasn't actually defined itself. So when people say, "Oh, God told me," or "It was God," I would say, "No, you told you that, and another human being told you that, and another human being told them." This actual energy didn't tell you anything. The actual energy just is. Human beings have now decided that this is what the energy said, and these are the people that it chose, right? And this is the book that it gave me, because there's no proof that this God actually exists, because people talk about God.
Okay, what's the proof that the energy you're talking about exists?
It's everything. You can go scientifically. We can break down atoms and protons, neutrons, and electrons in this microphone. It actually exists. It's not something that doesn't exist. It actually exists. So I'm talking about something that actually exists, but not choosing to define it. People are talking about, religious people are talking about something that they can't, they define, but they can't find existing. So it's like backwards.
Reverend.
I personally would like to make it very easy for myself and for everybody listening, and I would always come back to the point of experience. We can go scientific and talk about atoms and protons and electrons and all of that. We can also go very philosophical and begin to go into high levels of theology, which might not be meaningful to somebody who is waking up from bed this morning and listening to you and is looking for a sense of hope or even a sense of inspiration, somebody who is in a desperate situation and needs a voice, as he was saying, to say something to him. That voice could be from the person himself or from another person or another person, as my friend is saying. We can go on and on and on and on and on. But then you can, for me, the most important thing is that I trace my being to a source. And everything that gives me energy, gives me inspiration, gives me encouragement, gives me life, I connect it to the source. I mean, it is up to whoever has not experienced it to say that, well, the source is not real, or the source is originating from human ego or from yourself. That is immaterial to me. But the most important thing is that the source is able to drive me to do what I am supposed to do. And maybe I would explain that a bit further as we go on.
I find it interesting because he says that he says a source drives him, okay? And so, like I said, human beings define the source differently. So if we can he's used someone who needs inspiration and all this kind of stuff. So I always use the analogy of like 3 different people. You have 3 different alcoholics, say, right? And they all go to an alcoholic meeting, and one becomes a Christian and one becomes a Muslim, and the other one follows a 10-point plan, right? That, the Alcoholics Anonymous person chosen. They go away. 6 months later, they're all off alcohol and drugs, and all of them are going to tell you it was Jesus that helped me. The other one's going to tell you it was Allah that helped me. And the other one's going to tell you, well, it was Matthew from the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, right? So the common denominator within that scenario are the human being. It was a human being that drove themselves to come off it, whereas they needed inspiration from something or someone. So for me, the common denominator in all things are human beings, whereas what we believe in, right, may drive us, but what we believe in is different.
Does it not just boil down to faith?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But who has faith? Human beings have faith. So it's all down to us. And that is my point. We are the common denominator. We keep saying, oh, it's something else, it's something else, it's something else. It's us. We are the ones that have the faith.
Well, very interesting. You can call in. Number is 0203 735 8820 or 0203